Hey everybody, it's GobletX, and welcome back to some more Magic Arena, and today we're going to be playing another traditional draft of Murders at Karlov Manor. Without further ado, let's get into the draft. We've got a couple sweet options here. For the best common, we've got Person of Interest, which is good at getting a wide board state out nice and quick. Got a Long Goodbye for really efficient removal, but my favorite of the cards in the pack is Perimeter Enforcer, which is really good when you're curving out with a lot of detectives. So it's super good in blue-white, but really good for any white-based aggro deck because Flying and Lifelink is great at racing in any more aggressive matchup, which a lot of the matchups in this set are going to be, so pretty happy with Perimeter Enforcer. The rare, I'm not the most enthused by. I think that fireball effects like X mana for X damage to any target are just okay in limited, and that one's a pretty expensive one at red, green, and X instead of just red and X. Pick number 2, we do not see any detectives, so already a huge bummer for the Perimeter Enforcer. We do see a really good red removal spell, the Case of the Burning Masks. This can be a 2-for-1 removal spell, where we clear out one of our opponent's creatures and potentially draw another card to play in the future with that exile ability. So fan of that. The Furtive Courier is also decent if you can sacrifice some artifacts, give it that unblockability. Auspicious Arrival is a fine combat trick. Bunch of fine stuff like Murder is fine removal as well. Do prefer the Case for the potential 2-for-1 over that. Or there's like a filler creature with Automaton or Technician or something. I'll take the Case of the Burning Masks. Pick number 3, we've got an On the Job, which is great when you're getting a really wide board state. So for Go Wide Aggro, it's a pretty good card. It's an okay blue draw spell with Deduce. Pretty great finisher in red with Offender at large because you can slam it down turn 3 and still get some early damage with it. But it's also just a great play turn 5, whether flipped or hardcast. I'm a really big fan of Offender at large for the flexibility on that card, and I think I'm just going to roll with that here. Pick number 4. Still no good detective cards. There's a pretty good blue card with this Out Cold. If we do go blue-white, it's also just good in blue-red. It's good in anything blue. On the Job is very powerful, but a little more narrow for the Go Wide decks. And there's a bunch of medium stuff. Unscrupulous Agent, Bite Down on Crime being the best green or black cards. I think I'll take Out Cold. I think it's the best card in the pack. Pick number 5. Another pretty weak pack. Big green dork to flip up. The Vengeful Creeper. Seems fine. The Griffknot Tracker is a detective, but it's a pretty filler one. But that would help the Perimeter Enforcer a little bit. Be fine. Dramatic Accusation is fine, but very filler removal. I'm just not excited by this pack. I'll just take Griffknot Tracker. We can do just a nice basic Boros deck today. Pick number 6. Alright, well these are some really good cards. In particular, Galvanize pick 6 is super wild. That's really efficient removal. 2 mana instant speed, 3 damage. If you cracked a clue to draw an extra card, then it's 5 damage. So Galvanize is really good this late, but even a Museum Night Watch is a little surprising. Pick 6, the fact that it replaces itself with a 2/2 when it dies is pretty dang good. So big fan of both of these cards, and the Unauthorized Exit and Deduce are not bad either. That is spiciest pack we've seen in a little while. Definitely much more exciting than the last couple. Pick number 7. If we do go blue-red, Projector Inspector is a solid way to get a Galvanize going for cheap. And if we go blue-white, then this is a great card for blue-white detectives. I'm a pretty big fan of Projector Inspector. I like Cold Case Cracker as well, but I think the Inspector's a little less replaceable. Alternatively, we are deeper into white than blue, so we could take another white card. Primarily the Museum Night Watch here to stick to red-white. That'd be reasonable as well. Yeah, sure, we'll take Night Watch, actually. Pick number 8. Gearbane Orangutan is a great sideboard card. Bullrat Clan Basher being a fine finisher in the main deck. Accusation being filler, mediocre removal. I'll just get some bashing going, I think. Get another finisher. Pick 9, Person of Interest. Well, we're definitely red. That's just a guarantee. I guess we're probably red-white, right? Because the Person of Interest works great with the Perimeter Enforcer. Maybe we'll get one of these on the jobs back. That would be insane, but it is possible. Technician. Alright, and then nothing. Yeah, we're not getting an on the job back. Yeah, we're like 100% locked in on red, probably 60% locked in on white. but still like a 40% chance of ending up blue-red if we open something great in blue, and we open up the best blue card in the set. Cryptic Coat is obnoxiously good, honestly. It's unreasonable. It's 3 mana for a 3/2 unblockable, and you can return the coat to its hand to replay it and cloak more cards. So if your opponent has removal for your unblockable creature, they're going to have to pay the ward cost on it, and you can just make another one anyway. And even if they don't have the removal for it, you can still just put this back in your hand and make more 2/2s. This card is unreasonable in draft, and it's going to push us to blue-red. Because red is an aggressive enough color to not really want to do much splashing. Oh no. Well, shoot. I was going to say red is an aggressive enough color to not want to do much splashing, and Cryptic Coat is a powerful enough card to get us into blue guaranteed. But now we have Unyielding Gatekeeper, which is a 2 mana 3/2 at worst, but it also has a really flexible flip ability where you can flicker your own permanents, or you can just permanently exile your opponent's best card and give them a 2/2 back. This is so much better than anything else in the pack. We gotta still bounce between blue and white here then and take the Gatekeeper. So, yeah, I guess we'll spend a couple picks taking the best card between white and blue and just see where it ends up. But Cryptic Coat is definitely better than Unyielding Gatekeeper, so we're still leaning towards blue. And here, Museum Night Watch, Season Consultant, I think those are both a little worse than just Crime Stopper Sprite or Exit Specialist, which is a great flip effect. So I'll take the Exit Specialist here, I think, as the best creature there. Now another Out Cold. Oh, versus Dogwalker, though? Dogwalker is the best card, and even if we're in blue-red, we can hybrid mana flip this up for double red. If we're in red-white, it'll be insanely good. Dogwalker is definitely better than Out Cold. This card is absurd. One of the best commons in the set. Let's get the removal all in one pile and then have the creature curve sorted out. I guess Technician does make the main deck in red-white as well. We can flip it up. So we'll have those two disguise cards in there. I guess this is disguise and this is disguise, so it's a bunch of 3 mana stuff to do, which is a pretty decent curve. Well, a really nice pickup here, pick 5, because we're either red-white or red-blue, and either of those decks can use Codebreaker great. We just play it turn 2, jam in for a bunch of haste damage, or if we draw it later, we get to play it face down and draw a new hand when we flip it up. Codebreaker seems great here. Person of Interest, also great here. What is going on? Lightning Helix and Karlov Watchdog? 2 insane Boros cards? I don't even know what's better here. Like, we've got double Person of Interest Dogwalker for the Watchdog, but Lightning Helix is such efficient interaction. I'm still going to take Watchdog, I think. But that pack right there is just a massive, massive white signal to hop back there and just be Boros. So put all this into the curve. There you go. We're just a solid Boros deck right now. Pick 8 Shock. Red is wide open, and we're real happy to be in the color. Pick 9 doesn't have much for us, but the Unauthorized Exit would be playable if we get pushed back into blue somehow. Quite unlikely, but who knows. Get another Clan Basher finisher for pick 10. We just need 6 more playables out of the final pack. Helion's a fine top-end filler finisher. And pack 3, pick 1 gives us Red Herring, which gives us a reasonable 2-drop to play. Not a very good one, but you do need a good amount of 2-mana creatures to get that curve going in your aggressive decks, so we take the Red Herring here. Perfectly happy with that. Pack 3, pick 2, we get another Shock, which is pretty wild. We can also take Meticulous Archive and really try to splash in the coat. But in a really aggressive strategy like this, I just want to keep it 2-color streamlined, so we take Shock here. Pack 3, pick 3, another Dogwalker versus Case of the Crimson Pulse, which is a great way to keep your hand full, but Dogwalker's so good at getting that wide board state, we're going to take it. A little sad we didn't get an on-the-job here, because it'd be really good with those Dogwalkers, but I think the card's just so good even without. Pick number 4, God, is red open. We've got a Pyrotechnic Performer now. 2 mana, 3/1 curve, or if we draw it later, we flip it up, get a bunch of damage to our opponent. Card's great. Great card is great. Pick 5. Make your move for the sideboard is probably a little better than just putting an automaton just as another 2-drop. Another Karlov Watchdog? Well, now I wish I took the Helix. Having 1 Helix, 1 Watchdog is certainly better than having 2 Watchdogs. But Watchdog's still the best card in this pack. And while we don't have on the jobs, the double Karlov Watchdog can do a nice amalgamation of that, a nice clone. I'm forgetting the word. Alright, now we do get a filler automaton if we want it. Which we probably do with double Watchdog on turn 4. Just really make sure that board is wide. Cut some of the slower creatures like the Hellion Double Basher. Maybe the Tracker. I've got so many better 4-drops now. Yeah, drop Tracker, drop Hellion here. Play another Offender at Large or another Museum Night Watch. Both are great. With the double Watchdog, let's get the creatures that can trade off into more again with the Night Watch. Now a Technician's another way to go wide. Play that over another Basher. Sure. We do get the Meticulous Archive, but I don't think we're splashing. We got an on the job. That's actually the stone cold nuts here. Yeah, I'm pretty happy with that. 18 creatures right now. Take this. Cut the Basher. Just all in on all these go wide cards. We just have a deck. Like, there's the deck right there. I don't love the demand answers in here, but the only thing we could swap it out for is a make your move or another creature. We are on 17 creatures already, but I mean, this is a perfectly fine deck to go 18 creatures with, I think. So, sure. Kind of demand answers for a creature is not the end of the world. Although, demand answers does make the 17 lands feel more reasonable. You can like ditch one in the late game to draw. You know, a little bit of card draw is probably fine. We'll just run it. And call it a deck here. Alright, here's a look at our final deck list for today, which is a nice little Boros aggro deck. Red was wide open, so we got a lot of premium red cards like Person of Interests, along with the very cheap removal, Galvanize and Double Shock. So super happy to be in red here, and we got enough white support to be the nice streamlined Boros aggro deck. Plenty of ways to make the board state wide, again with those 2 Person of Interests, but also some Gadget Technicians, that's 2 creatures off 1 card, Dog Walkers, 3 creatures off 1 card. And once we have the wide board state, our Karlov Watchdogs can buff the entire board, or our On the Job can finish the game. So pretty basic go wide aggro, definitely what Boros wants to be doing in this format, and it looks pretty awesome. So we'll see how it all plays out as we head into the gameplay. Opponent is on the play for game 1, unfortunately. The hand is still pretty good, so we will keep it and roll on in as aggressively as we can on the draw. Playing against a black deck. Double Swamp to start it off, so heavy into black. No Detectives coming up for Enforcers, so let's just start jamming for 2 a turn with Red Herring. Go for immediate damage. Triple black, very deep into black there. It's a Clandestine Meddler, while Shock is looking awesome here. So I want to just Perimeter Enforcer plus Shock, because it's rude. Not really. If they want to trade into a Red Herring, they can trade into a Red Herring. And then we can disguise a card for the turn. Yeah, this is fine. Red Herring's not going to do too much better later in the game than trading into a 3-2. It will be forced into a bad attack later, potentially. They're stuck on triple black, so they probably do have a secondary color, they just haven't hit it yet. So here's 2 damage and here's Watchdog. And they are stuck here. Go for the kill on Watchdog? Yeah, murder it. Sure. hit for one more damage and then not hold up as much burn. I think that's fine, because I'm still holding up a shock. And if they play just one creature with like 3 or less toughness, we'd rather case the Burning Masks than either of these two, because we could immediately solve it so that we can draw another card. Massacre Girl. Alright, so I'm going to have to double shoot that anyway. Find a Fugitive Codebreaker. I do not have enough red to do anything but Galvanize plus Shock here, so Galvanize plus Shock it is, 2 for 1 ourselves to clear a path. But we have 2 cards that can get us back in the game card advantage-wise. The Case of the Burning Masks can draw us an extra card while killing a creature, and the Codebreaker can draw us a new hand when we flip it up. Alright, well, board wipe isn't great for us, but luckily Museum Night Watch gets around it a little bit. Nothing to do with the case, so let's hit for 2 and drop the Codebreaker to flip it up for a new hand soon. Alternatively, I could have got real aggro here and tried to put them to 5. That feels a little extra risky. Are they actually mono black? It'd be kind of sweet. Maybe they are. This is 3 damage, which isn't enough to matter against Coroner right now. This is, let's see, there's 2 Instants Engrave. This is 4 mana to flip. 4 mana to flip. I don't have the mana to flip this and play Night Watch. So I think I just play Night Watch and pass then, sadly. I don't think it's worth discarding the Case and the Night Watch to draw 3, when those 3 are likely to be 2 average cards, like Case and Night Watch, and then 1 land. Dog Walker. Alright, well, once again, I'm not flipping, because we want to play a Dog Walker. And I think we want to go wide with it, so we're also... Yeah, we're definitely not flipping. I mean, I could play the Dog Walker face up and flip, right? It's 4 mana. I could, and then I only lose the Case, but then I lose the ability to make 1/1s as well. Let's not do that. Getting a wide board state here seems huge. That turns a couple of our top decks into instant lethal. Like hitting another Karlov Watchdog, or hitting our On the Job. Those would both get there. It looks like our opponent is just full-on mono-black control there with a board wipe and everything. Seems like it should be a decent matchup for us, because we are a real good aggro deck. Okay. The Case, once again, doesn't do too much, so I guess we flip now. I mean, I could attack with the whole board and then finish something off with the Case. And then 3 creatures get in, so we deal 4 damage to our opponent. If this could shoot their face, they'd just be dead here, but it can't. No, I think I flipped this. I also overspent. There. We could hit, like, land on the job and just win. Oh, we already played land for turn. We couldn't do that. Okay, this was still decent. Drop a Technician. Just keep getting a wider board. Does this gain life ever? Nope. Mortipede might, if they collect some evidence. That would be pretty bad. That is not any evidence collections. That is more mana, which is really bad for us at this point. So, 4 blockers, block, 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 block. Take 4, go to 3. But they don't lose any creatures in that. I think we have to hold until we find a Karlov Watchdog or an On the Job. So if I just flood out here, they could absolutely stabilize off these Mortipedes for lifelink. This is not good. Codebreaker into the land chunk is rough. No, there's the collect evidence. Gross. Well, I can flip up the Night Watch at least, so I sack that to collect evidence, to extract a confession. But now they gain 1,000,000. They're up to 11. Person of interest is a big one. Our board state's still definitely wide enough to kill them with watchdogs or on the jobs. We can just get there. I got more evidence to collect. Oh my god, they have another lifelinker if they do. Unyielding Gatekeeper. Spicy, that's interesting. Flicker my own person of interest for another creature is a play. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Take 1, 2, 3, 4. It's not anywhere near lethal yet. Maybe on a future swing it will be. Worst case scenario, exiling a bit of lifelink off of their board and just giving them a 2/2 seems fine. Right, so Snuffler's getting bigger. I could flicker the Technician to have another flyer. It's another option. When does it come back? Exile an online permanent. If you controlled it, return it tapped. So immediately. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 blockers. Block 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Take 1, 2, 3, 4. Not going to be lethal. Maybe I just start hitting for 2 a turn in the sky then. Flip up the Gatekeeper. Yeah. And that doubles the speed of the clock. Just maybe worth losing that flexibility of interacting. If they do manage to collect evidence and get lifelink again. Right, thinking cap onto the offender. Pass the turn. Here's another flyer. Oh boy. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Take 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Well over lethal, but if they collect evidence at instant speed, we really lose. Mono black, the only thing I can think of to collect evidence is sorceries like Extract a Confession, so I mean, if we get got, we get got, but I think we send in for lethal. If their last card in hand's instant speed removal, we put them to 1. And probably still win. If it's instant speed collect evidence, we just lose. But instant speed removal, we can still go for the 2-turn kill here. Sweet. Alright, it is murder, so they're not dead. But we don't die on the crackback either, right? 3, 6, 12 plus 3, 15 plus 5. Oh my god, we do. We exactly die. Oh my god. Because the repeat offender can mana sink for +1/+1 counters. We literally one creature. And they only hit for like 16 here or something. Oh wow, and they just top deck thinking cap 2. So even without spending mana on repeat offender, we're dead on the crackback. That's tilting. Exactsies. Well, good. good card to have in hand. I guess we should have just played out the slow game there and just chipped in for 3 a turn and sat on our butts. Man, I would love to look at their graveyard and learn more about their deck, but Arena sucks lately. And it doesn't work. The View Battlefield button. Griffnaught Tracker actually seems pretty good here. Shut off some of their collect evidence against those Mortipede thingies. Actually, Make Your Move seems good. Probably better than Griffnaught, because that can kill the lifelinking menace things, which were pretty pivotal. But I think our matchup is good here. I think we just need to play it out really safe. Like, if I just sat the whole game and poked for 1, we would have just won there. Just wanted to give them less time to draw into outs if we had just instant lethal, which we maybe did, but not against the removal. Alright, we're on to game 2. Let's get into a better headspace here. Let's stop being frustrated about the loss there. It is what it is. Probably just run this over demand answers and head back into game 2. Alright, definitely playing first, and thanks for the Forced Mulligan Arena. Start with a 6-card hand then, but mulligans are definitely less painful for aggro decks. Oh, should I get rid of Perimeter Enforcer here? I don't think the life gain is going to be incredibly relevant, but the flying is definitely relevant. I do like the red herring in this matchup, though. I can tell they play a 4-drop or a 5-drop. It's just damage. Straight up damage. Maybe Technician just takes long enough to flip. We ditch that. I don't know. Get rid of the Technician. So now we go Herring into Enforcer instead. No, Sanitation Automaton to trade into the Herring. That's not great. Ooh, a new face down to play, you say? Sure. Is this a detective? No. Viashino Assassin. Dang. Draw another 4-drop. Is as awkward as possible. It's not a land for our 4-drops, and it's not something that costs 3 or less, which most of our non-land draws are at this point. Awkward. Hit for 6 on the swing. It's pretty big. They're down to 12 already, and here's a flyer. Played really well game 1. Massacre Girl, it's kind of annoying. Well, there we go. Make your move, Massacre Girl. What are you going to do about it? Nothing. Just going to go into the graveyard. Oh, I thought you surveil 1 on this thing. Nope. This card is really weak. Definitely still sideboarding it in, though. Still worth it in this matchup. Agency Coroner to stop the Pyrotechnic Performer. Well, they need another creature to stop the person of interest, and we get a detective on board. If they just play another 3/6 blocker, like Karlov Watchdog Go is great. They go to 1 life because they block our Performer and our Detective and take 5 damage. So just put them dead to Enforcer. Following up. Slimy Dual Leech. Pass the turn. Well, they did play only 1 creature. Gatekeeper's the kind of thing we're going to want to do when we have 5 mana. Play it face down and just insta-flip it. So let's Watchdog send in the squad, put them to 1 on board. We've got a 2-mana instant. I don't remember them playing a 2-mana instant last game. They had Murder for 3. Guess they might have the destroy something with mana value 3 or less. Be kind of nuts here. Oh, it's Scene of the Crime. It's the clue land. Probably what's holding for them. So they kill our 4/3 for free. They bounce off of 1 and go to 1 life. Still really favorable. Attack. Yeah, it's the clue land that they've got here. There's the Mortipede. It doesn't have haste though, so no life gain there. And there's the Murder on the Watchdog to send a message, but they are dead on board to our flyer. We're going to head into game 3 on the draw again, but once again, pretty confident in this matchup as long as we play it really safe, don't get greedy again. We've got the evasive threats to fly over their ground troops that are locking things off, so we just need to play it nice and slow. Don't swing all out. Again, yeah, I'm perfectly happy to run it back. Although, again, Tracker seems pretty good in the matchup. It slows down some of their collect evidence, and it is another evasive threat. So if we're changing anything, it would be throwing another Tracker in. Sure, I guess since I'm on the draw, I can just play this over another land and call it a day. Time for game 3 of round 1. Alright, well, it's a little awkward. 2-drop into 2 4-drops, but we're on a 16 land build now, so should be decent shots at hitting some non-lands here. Find our 3-drop. We now have Herring into Enforcer into Person of Interest. Then we Karlov Watchdog and buff the board. That's what we like to see. Certainly prefer it on the play, but you cannot be on the play every single game. That's cheating. Extract the Confession, the Herring. Alright. Top deck land is horrible. Started with 4 lands, now we have 6. Alright, Night Watch isn't the worst in the world. I mean, as long as we're not hitting lands, I think we're happy. But we will have to hit, you know, like a third of our cards lands, as is the average. Dual Leech and Coroner again. I was going to say, if they attack with Dual Leech, I'm actually pretty happy here. We get more damage in thanks to the Menacing Person of Interest. Ooh, another one? Play another Person of Interest, trigger the Enforcer, and then play Watchdog next turn for the big old buff. I think that's fine. Watchdog now is also pretty fine. But like, a Watchdog attack next turn out of nowhere could be so big. Polygraph Orb. They do have to shoot themselves to do that, but it is great value. Find the best cards in the top 4, I think. Yep. Mill 2 lands they don't need. Ooh, Galvanize? Perfect mana for that? To go Watchdog and finish something off with a Galvanize? Finish off 3/6? This should be just like game, I imagine. Because Dual Leech can't kill anything here. Coroner can kill a 3/3, but then we can just kill it with Galvanize. They're down to 1 creature on board at 2 life. Yeah, Watchdog definite MVP in this match. And Enforcer, the flying has been a really big deal. The Person of Interest is great as well, just any kind of menace. Because their deck is just like really sturdy blockers on the ground. It's the Extract to make us lose the Watchdog, but they're still at 2. So we're going to need to do quite a bit more than that. Rot Farm Mortipede. Without the ability to lifelink on this block, that's not going to be enough. And there is the concession. So we start off with a victory in round 1, 2-1, as we head into round 2. Here we are on the play, baby, for round number 2. It's a pretty great start. I don't know which one of these I want to do face up. Probably Gatekeeper. Yeah, the dogs are pretty great. Boros mirror match. And there's the dog walker, so we're just gonna play our stuff face up and trade initially. Next turn I can galvanize and flip up dog walker in one turn, so that's great. Mana efficiency there. Yeah, this works out fine. Could also demand answers galvanize if I need 5 damage. But I don't. Not against Reckless Detective. I also don't need to galvanize if they block, but I don't think they would ever block here. Yeah, they're not going to block. I will still galvanize. Oops. Hold up. I clicked one too many times. I thought I was clicking after that to move to main phase 2. If I get combat tricked here, I'm going to be really mad because that was not my intention. That's just playing digital magic. Like, I thought I needed to click OK on the dog walker and then click to get to main phase 2. Okay, it doesn't matter. Thank goodness. I was going to be so mad if they had the 2 mana +2/+2. Alright, we are fine. Watchdog is not going to trigger here because our board isn't wide enough. So we're going to play one of the face downs. Probably Technician to get the board wider, quicker. Five mana now. There's a Vengeful Tracker, just a 2/2. And a face down 2/2. There is the mana to play a face down and flip up our current face down. Kind of sweet. No Watchdog for the turn then. Is that worth it? I think it is. And then just Watchdog next turn with an even better board. All right, face down for face down, but we get our flip value and they do not. And it's the exact same trade. It's Technician for Technician, but ours got a Thopter. Well, that Bystander will actually get them a clue thanks to the Watchdog. They can chump our 3/3 if they want. Oh, that is perfect mana. Now I can play the Watchdog and still flip up our face down, or demand answers, sacrificing our Thopter. Don't think we want to do that, but we might flip the face down. They try to kill it here. They are going to try to kill it, so this is going to be a great flip. They will kill it, but we'll get a 2/2 back. And we'll kill both their cards, which is super nasty. And a Mistway Spy? Should have played a little bit of blue. I wish I had more time to view the battlefield there. But Arena does as it chooses. So we're playing the mirror match, and we were on the play, so we win game 1. Because we're on the play. We're definitely going to be behind here. Now that they're on the play, we're on the draw. But they seem a little splashy as well. They had a blue detective to flip up, so they have to be playing at least like one island in there. I don't think they'd be playing it as just a 3 mana 2/2 that they can never flip or cast. So I think we're a little bit favored just because we're a little more streamlined in the mirror. It's really going to be about who can get things rolling faster and who can get that kill. And if they have to mess around with their mana tiny bits for their little splash, probably us favored in general. And certainly the person on the play is going to be favored overall. So I don't think Make Your Move looks great here. We didn't see anything to really exile with the Griffknot tracker. I think we just run it back and hope that our deck is a little more streamlined and a little faster than theirs. but we'll see how it plays out heading into game 2. This is reasonable on the draw. We've got the Shock for their first threat. We've got the Technician to get things rolling. It's not great, but perfectly reasonable. Now we can demand answers, ditching a land. Ooh. Okay, this hand isn't very good against Reckless Detective because of that 3 toughness. That's a big deal. Reckless Detective, just smoothing out your draws for the game. It's easy not to realize how good the card is, but smoothing out the draws and helping you find whatever you need, ditching what you don't, is just incredible. The player that got to discard a card and draw a card every turn versus the player that doesn't is going to win the vast majority of the time. Alright, now we can't even shock the face down. Stitch a land, draw 2. We should be able to find land 4 in our next 4 draws. Oh yeah, very happy I did that. Shock the face down or play our own face down. At this point, we're pretty defensive. I think we want to make sure this isn't a Dog Walker or a Gadget Technician or something. Just get rid of its trigger. But they've already got a Reckless Detective rolling, so I think we play nice and defensively here, and we get rid of the Dog Walker. That feels excellent. Another face down. Detective keeps doing its thing. Oh, it pokes for 0. Let's go. Never mind. It doesn't do its thing at all this turn. Person of interest now, and next turn, face down Technician, flip up. I could play a face up Codebreaker, I guess, but I don't think that's worth it. I don't really want to play Watchdog till I have the ability to trigger it, and the only other way to spend all 4 mana and be mana efficient here is to play Codebreaker plus Herring, which I don't really want to do. Well, I'm pretty happy this Reckless Detective has just started chilling for the most part. I think in the Boros matchup, it's fine to just try to trade into face downs, because there's not a lot that have like 3 or more toughness they'd be running. Oh, Concealed Weapon, okay. So that explains the detective attack there. Suited up. I mean, I think this is just good for us, because now they just only have 1 creature, and we still got to keep our 2/2. This does feel like we are now in the aggressive lead, and things have just like flipped right in our favor right quickly here. Pretty happy with how this game has played out. Even though they had all that detective value early, I think the board is widely in our favor now. Especially with a Watchdog coming up. Yeah, this card is just so awkward. I've just not been impressed by it. Like there, they flip it. They don't kill our creature anymore, and they just make their other one a little bigger. I don't think it ended up being super great for them. So they're still trying to race, but Watchdog is going to make that real hard. And I could play another creature to have 2 blockers up. It's also 2 mana to flip, so I could flip that up. I would rather block with a 3/2 Gatekeeper than a 2/1 Codebreaker, but having the flexibility of being able to flip with the Technician is really nice, so I am going to hold up double red. I guess we'll play a face-down Gatekeeper and flip it up later. So here's Watchdog. Send in the board, buff everybody. I guess I could just flip this for more damage, because then we still have 2 blockers up. It's just a 1/1 chump blocker instead of a 2/1 chump blocker. That's fine. That's pretty reasonable. Yeah, that seems better than actually casting another card, committing another spell to this board. There's the concession from our opponent, alright. I thought it was a mirror match based on game 1, but I guess they just didn't draw their blue source. It looks like they were the full-on Jeskai deck with a little bit more late-game value, grinding things out with like Reckless Detective with some artifacts they could sack to it, to where, yeah, we can just be the more aggressive deck and find a nice quick kill even on the draw. So we are now 2-0 in our rounds heading into the final battle, round number 3, where if we can win this victory, we'll get the max prize out of the event. We'll get 2,500 gems, 6 packs, and 2 play-in points, so be fighting our heart out, but I think this deck is pretty good. It could maybe get there. No matter what, it's got a positive win rate now, so we'll see how it all ends up as we head into that final battle, round number 3. Here we are for round 3. Our opponent's on the play, but we can try to flip that tempo in our favor regardless, shocking their first play and then just hasting in with Red Herring. I love this hand. This looks like a great one on the draw. Playing against a green deck, so they should be a lot grindier, have a lot more powerful late game than us, generally speaking. So we do want to be as aggressive as possible in this matchup. Start off with that haste damage. Maybe side in a make your move against the big green creatures. They are green-white. Okay, white is really aggressive, and green is really grindy. When you combine them together, green gives white a bunch of good combat tricks if they want to be super aggressive, or white gives green a bunch of good removal like makeshift binding if they want to be really grindy. With Inside Source to start it off, it looks like they want to be pretty aggressive, but we'll see how their deck ends up playing out. I do believe we are going all in on damage here, in which case we want to shock the 2/2 to get Red Herring in again, then play an Automaton and Surveil and see what we find. The Automaton, kind of awkward against the 1/1 Inside Source, though. It's not going to attack in well till we get Karlov Watchdogs going, because we don't want to galvanize a 1/1. But we've got 2 Watchdogs, so we can get them going later. Granted, we don't lose a bunch of our creatures. Yeah, just a Perimeter Enforcer for now, so definitely looks like a more aggressive green-white deck. So we send in the Red Herring, and then Person of Interest? Or do I just play a Watchdog to try to get it going immediately so Automaton does something? I don't think so, because then if they kill like a single one of our creatures, that plan's all going to fall apart. Whereas if we play Person of Interest, like, they need to do a lot to our board for us to not get to attack in next turn. If they play anything sturdy and we just galvanize it, so... Now that's Person of Interest. It seems a lot more safe. More likely to end up playing well. Like, Watchdog plays great if they don't do anything to interact, but Person of Interest is going to play perfectly fine almost no matter what they do. Alright, so the Enforcer is going to be annoying. But, again, we can just galvanize the Eavesdropper and slap in for damage. I could also just play Watchdog, honestly, against this Eavesdropper, since we are going to trigger it. Yeah, and then everybody's attacking in as a 3-power creature. They can't block well. They can try to crack back, but they're taking so much damage here. Kill the Menace card with the Eavesdropper. Fair enough. The only way they kill anything is with Eavesdropper, so might as well kill the one with Menace. They have to lose the Eavesdropper no matter what. They're down to 7. That's huge. That is huge, even with lifelink, with that Perimeter Enforcer. So yeah, it's like green-white Detectives aggro, because green does have these Eavesdroppers for more Detectives to go with the Enforcer. It's pretty cool. Another Eavesdropper. Yeah, their deck looks pretty sweet. Those are really, really good commons. They are down to 7. Double Watchdog triggers? I can't resist. This is probably not right. Like, we might have just lethaled them here if I just galvanized the Eavesdropper, but this is too funny to resist. So I'll miss lethal for this. Alright, it doesn't matter. They concede anyway. See, it's still lethal if they concede the game. It would be putting them to 1 life if they had no interaction. It would be chump chump go to 1. Alright, well, I can't view the battlefield. They're green-white Detectives. They've got the Eavesdroppers for the 3/3s that make a clue. They've got the 2-mana 1/1 flying lifelinker, so... Actually, Make Your Move doesn't look incredible. It would kill an Eavesdropper after they give it the buff, but that's the only target we actually saw for Make Your Move right now, so... kind of want to just stay unsideboarded for now. Maybe things will change as we move into Game 3, but for now... I mean, I guess White's best removal is like Makeshift Binding, which is enchantment-based removal, so that would give us a target for Make Your Move. That and potential locks on Eavesdroppers still feels pretty narrow. But Green-White also has the uncommon enchantment-based removal spell. There's a lot of cards they could have that Make Your Move is really good against. So is it worth putting in just in case they have that kind of stuff? I guess since we're on the draw, we can do it over land 17. Fingers crossed, we'll see. This might be a bad idea. We'll find out as we head into game number 2. Alright, well, I'm certainly not unhappy to have 16 instead of 17 lands with this opener. This is not a bad opener either. 2-drop into 3-drop, and then we can draw a new hand off of Codebreaker later. I think they are aggressive enough to not just try to like outrace them with Prowess Hasty Codebreaker instead of just drawing cards off of Codebreaker. I think we are just starting with Automaton. Tunnel Tipster is the start yet, and we just trade into a Tipster anyway, which I guess is fine. I would rather Automaton than Enforcer. Let's get a Surveil. Ditch that land for sure. Seen 6 lands already. That stuff out of here. Mono green so far from our opponent, but they've got a lot of mana. 4 mana here. There's the face down, so Tipster is also going to be a 2-2, but Automaton attacks pretty well into 2-2s. Might not be right to attack, because I threatened to block their face down, but they're going to have 5 mana up to flip it into something that could just eat my Automaton next turn anyway. Alright, turn 4 we're going to flip this up and play an Enforcer. Turn 5 we play Watchdog, turn 6 we Codebreak. Maybe that's the curve. Market Watch Phantom. 2-2 that gets flying when they're playing their own 2-2s and stuff. We do want to flip Technician pretty badly, so we're just going to take this. Okay. Play Enforcer, flip Technician is the play. Just jam in again. Run into a combat trick here. Trade a combat trick into one of these. The 2 mana +3/+3 trample or something like that. Or we just trade on board, that's fine too. Well, I guess we won't know about the combat trick till after the flip here. Yeah, this is fine. It is a little worse than the trample trick since it does stick around. That is more annoying. I think we're still okay. Oh no. Gives them exactly enough power to insta-flip the Case of the Trampled Garden. Well, I guess since the case does give 2 +1 +1 counters, they would have been able to use this anyway. But that is going to outrace us. Make their entire board gigantic, and they give something a counter and trample every turn. 7, 8, 9, 10, go to 8 life? Alright, well. This might be a matchup of just whoever's on the play wins the race. We'll see. Certainly looks that way right now. Galvanize is a huge draw. To attempt to flip that around, we can galvanize the Tipster, and then they have 8 power on board off the Case of the Trampled Garden, so if their face down is nothing, we can win the race. Because they can give trample wherever they want it, I don't think that it matters if I hold up 1 toughness blockers. I think I just hold up a 2-2 and I galvanize the Tipster. And we just pray that this thing is not a good flip. Because blocking trample with some 1/1s is just bad. I mean, they only give one of the things trample, so maybe hold off the 1/1 flyer to chump block whichever doesn't get trample is fine. We're dead to so many combat tricks here, too. Yeah, I'm just gonna chump block the one that doesn't get trampled, and we'll see if that works at all. Well, we're alive. That is something. Blocks it on eavesdroppers, very bad. Dogwalker makes tapped blockers. But I can play it untapped. I cannot... I guess if they have nothing, they crack this, that's a 4-4. They make one of their 4-4s a 5-5 trample. Trump that with Watchdog. Dogwalker blocks a 4-4. I go to like 2. I'm gonna try it. Go for the 2-turn counterattack kill as the only possibility. Just constantly chumping here, we just get overwhelmed by this case anyway. Steamrolled by it over time. Our best bet is legitimately that they just don't have something and maybe we counterattack for enough damage over the course of a turn or two. And this would be like, yeah, if they don't kill us this turn, we probably kill them. Unless they just hold everybody back on blocks. Ah, there you go. Well, Makeshift Binding is incredible in this matchup. It's an aggro mirror, and that's removal that gains them life too. So, what are you gonna do? Alright, well, I think we just need to be on the play. I think we figured it out. But we probably could have outraced them on the play. We got them down to 5. And they maybe could have outraced us game 1 if they were on the play. Who knows? I think game 1 was a little more lopsided than game 2, but they were still both pretty lopsided, so. Yeah. I'm happy with the make your move. I'm fine with the 16 land build. Just run it back. Just gotta be faster than that. And we can do so by being on the play. Here we are for game 3 of round 3, the final game of Magic for today. Win or lose. All comes down to this. Let's see if we can get a solid opener. This is solid. Definitely don't have to mulligan. We go 2-drop into 3-drop to get aggressive on the play. We've got the removal to clear a path. We have Make Your Move against a Makeshift Binding, or a big creature from our opponent later. I don't love the Make Your Move, but 2-drop, 3-drop removal is a great start, especially on the play, and our opponent has had some sore luck there. The mulligan to 5 should be really helpful for us, but also definitely a bummer for them. Alright, let's get things rolling. 2 mana, 3/2. 3 power on the board on turn 2. 2-drop from our opponent is Tunnel Tipster, which cannot block the Gatekeeper profitably. I could kill it right now so they don't get to ramp up at all, but I think I'd rather play Technician so that when I use the Case of the Burning Masks, I do get to insta-flip it. There is pretty big value in solving that case. Getting to draw another card off of it whenever we want. If they end up tipstering and then playing like a face-down 2/2, I'd probably just Watchdog and be able to attack into that really easily. They're just going to play an inside source here. Yeah, Watchdog attacks into the inside source are good as well. Honestly. Yeah, they have to go for double blocks. Then I don't have enough creatures for the Watchdog next turn after this if they clear out one of them. This is kind of interesting. Feels like it's still worth it. And then if we hit a land, Defender next turn is going to be great. Oh shoot, it doesn't even trigger yet. Oops. That was a big, it wasn't exactly a punt, because I think that play is still fine, but that was a huge brain fart. I thought it was going to trigger. Still our most mana efficient play, and it's a great card. Getting the Watchdog out here. And we've got the Make Your Move to save it. Just gonna crack for 2, sure. I guess they didn't want to go for any blocks there. Well, here's Offender at large mana. Oop. Big swings. They're down to 11. So if we wanted to play the Watchdog, even if it wasn't triggering that turn, obviously the best play was just play it post-combat. So our opponent has to consider that we're attacking him with combat tricks. So it was the wrong play for sure, and it was sort of a punt, but not a punt in the sense that it was like a horrible play that put us really far back. Like, there could have been an argument for just attacking with Gatekeeper and the Technician. And just taking a trade into the 2-2 like we did. Alright, there's a face down from our opponent, which makes Tipster big enough to try to double block Offender. Do we shock the Tipster so we can flip this, or do we hold up Make Your Move? Or sorry, do we case of the Burning Masks the Tipster so we've hit with 3 things and we flip this? I think I'd rather shock so that I can shock and Make Your Move here. And by holding up shock, if they try to double block Offender at large, we can blow it up. Get the really nasty combat trick there to just wipe out all their blockers. Okay, this is fine. It's a Museum Night Watch. That's a little annoying, but this is still fine. Yeah. I am kind of tempted to get the case. Now that I'm going to have 1... I'll still have 2 creatures next turn if I kill the Makeshift Binding, so I can still trigger case next turn. Yeah, this is fine. We can still shock the Tipster and Make Your Move the Binding. For big swings. I mean, I guess the bigger argument at this point for clearing out the Tipster with case is that then we get to keep the instant speed shock as a combat trick. Oh, well, this is just game. Yeah, this is just game. Because now we can shock the inside source, Make Your Move the Binding, and then case the Eavesdropper, so they're just dead now. Stumbled into the right play. Let's go. You actually do nothing so that you surprise kill your opponent with the case on the Eavesdropper. Because they can make Eavesdropper a 4/4 during their turn only for the second card trigger. Can't do it during our turn. And, oh wow, this is... Well, actually that doesn't change anything. That just gives us an alternate line for lethal. But yeah, alright. That will do it. Pretty nasty stuff in that final game. A lot of that was honestly that our opponent just had to mulligan twice. So some really solid luck to wrap up the events. But overall, still a really powerful deck. Super happy with what we ended up in the draft pod. It was a pretty simple draft. We were on red aggro from the start. There was a little bouncing between potentially red and white, but I am happy to have ended up in this just really gross Boros deck with the double Dog Walker. The On the Job we never got to see, but the double Watchdog did a really nice imitation of the On the Job throughout the draft. So still really good stuff here. Yeah, happy to be in Boros instead of blue-red, even though we had the option for the Cryptic Coat. I think the Boros synergies and like double Watchdog Dog Walker stuff was worth it, making those cards really consistent. Really solid deck overall. No huge under or over performers, just a great deck as a whole. It's going to grab us our 2,500 gems, 2 play-in points, and 6 packs of Murders at Karlov Manor. But that is going to end today's video. As always, I'd like to thank my patrons and YouTube members for their support, as well as you for watching the video. If you enjoyed this video and you're interested in seeing more, you can always like, comment, and subscribe to tell the YouTube algorithm to send you some more in your recommended feed. If you'd like to catch me live, you can check out the Twitch channel in the link in the description below. And if you'd like to support the channel directly, you can check out the Patreon link in the description below. Other than that, as always, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you again soon for some more Magic Arena.